The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3. Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Callie.
And if I sound a little bit rusty, which I think I do, it's from our weekend.
Not rusty, but a wee bit hoarse.
My kids call it a rusty voice, which it kind of is.
Cute.
That's because we spent the weekend together with other friends of ours at the cottage. And I learned something new about you.
No.
I did.
What
After
is it?
all these years of friendship, I didn't know that you knew how to curate such a great playlist.
Oh,
it was fire.
my
Callie
God.
put on a playlist that erupted into an entire living room dance party.
I think we danced for like 3 full hours.
Yes.
And thank you for the compliments. That is like the best compliment. And I was live DJing. Like I had the phone in my hand and I was like, I took it very seriously. I was like, I cannot let this group down. Because if you choose the wrong song in a living room cottage dance party and the mood goes with it, like that's a no bueno situation.
It's
so I
social
felt
suicide.
I had a great amount of responsibility. Soul refreshed, a little puffy, but feeling mostly just grateful.
I told you, if we came home not puffy and rested, we did it wrong.
You did say that.
Yeah.
You're
And
like, if
I
you're
think
not exhausted and bloated, you
then,
failed.
Then we missed the whole point of the weekend.
Yeah,
so
no.
I'm really glad.
Assignment was completed.
Yes.
Yes.
We weren't the only ones celebrating over the weekend. There were 2 big celebrity birthday parties.
There were.
It could not have been.
Polar opposite.
Yeah. So we have on the East Coast, we have Gigi Hadid turning 30.
Right.
She had an interesting guest list. Her partner,
She did.
Bradley Cooper, was there. Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Didn't-
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the connection is. Although I feel like there's this inner circle in Hollywood of like moms with kids. And that's actually how Bradley and Gigi met.
Right. Oh, like New York moms.
Yeah, New York moms with kids of a certain age. And I do think that like that could be the connection. And as I said, Gigi and Bradley met that way at like a backyard birthday party for like a famous person's kid. And they met there. And so that could be the connection. I do want to say we did talk an awful lot about her face last week.
Yeah.
And
Full segment.
yeah, full segment, full send. Like we went hard on what we thought was happening there. And then I will say the pictures I saw of her going to Gigi's birthday, they looked different. They looked significantly less tight than what we saw at the runway show.
So was it the ponytail?
It could have been.
It could have been the ponytail. So I could stand corrected.
I guess what we need is a really tight ponytail.
We need more visual evidence, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah,
You're
we
right.
need more. We need more in the next few weeks. I need more photos of Anne Hathaway's face to really determine what happened.
Here's my question. Al Pacino also had his birthday party. He turned 85. So we had 30-year-old Gigi, and now on the other side of the country, Al Pacino turning 85.
Yeah.
He had Jerry Seinfeld, Jessica Alba, Bill Maher, Rita Wilson, Benicio del Toro. Which party would you want to be at?
I was going to ask you the same thing. I think you know where I want to be. I want to be at the 85-year-old's birthday party.
Honestly, that guest list, I feel like these people can get down.
I think so too. I think there are people who do not care at all.
No.
There's no try hard. There's no trying to be cool. There is no filter.
Yeah.
There is like you could leave whenever you want. It wouldn't be a thing.
I feel like there's like cigars and scotch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stories.
Yes.
And I know that if Jerry Seinfeld is there, it's a great time because he hates everything.
Yeah.
He hates being
really
everywhere.
unapologetically is
Hates
like,
everything.
please leave me alone. No, I totally agree.
Okay, I'm glad
So
we agree
down.
on that.
So the other thing that came out this week is the trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer. The new one.
Right.
As we know, Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't make it through that series. She died early on. Her character died in like I think the first movie. But it is where she met her husband, Freddie Prinze Jr. They've been married for 22 years.
That's not possible.
Like how did we get so lucky? These two, like I can't. They're so freaking cute. But Sarah Michelle Gellar is doing a press tour. I'm not sure if it's for this movie because I don't think she's really in it. I think they mention her, but I don't think
she
she's
is
in
out
it.
there. You're right.
She was on Jenna and Friends, which is also the gift that keeps on giving, that revolving seat of all the amazing co-hosts. But they asked her what her secret to her 22-year marriage was. And it's the same answer that I have.
Which is?
Separate bathrooms.
Yes.
And that is like, when anyone asks me like, how do you live a long, happy, beautiful life with your partner? Separate bathrooms. Keep it separate.
Yeah.
Give me space to get ready. Give me space to do the things I don't want you to know that I do, even though we've been together for 15 years. Give me space.
Yeah.
What is your secret?
Well, here's the thing. When we moved into this house, we lived in separate bathrooms. So we have the ensuite off of our bedroom, and Randall occupied that.
Right.
And then I took the other bathroom on the second floor of our house. And we did that for years. Then we had these kids.
Right.
Now I'm sharing this bathroom with these two kids, and I don't want to do that anymore. So about a year ago, I moved out of the bathroom that I was sharing with the kids. And for the first time in the 10 years we've lived here, Randall had to start sharing a bathroom with me, and he hated it. He hated every second of it. I took over drawers and cupboards. I installed another vanity. Now all my stuff's in the shower.
Of course.
It was a whole thing.
So,
and I can be honest with you, I don't love sharing that. And I really hate? I hate getting into the bathroom if he's already been in there and it's steamy. Steam is not my friend.
It's just really messing up our whole process.
All of it. I want to go back where you are. Can I tell you a quick Sarah Michelle Gellar story? Because I totally forgot about her. So in my younger days, I am not claiming this to be true. I'm just saying what was said of me was that I looked like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, for many years, this was like the comparison that I got. So much so that when I was an intern in a newsroom, the news anchor just called me Buffy, refused to learn my name, and just referred to me as Buffy.
Cute.
The Vampire Slayer. So then this thing goes on for a while. I end up on a red carpet where I'm interviewing Sarah Michelle Gellar. And I feel like I'm going to say this to her, not in like, I look like you. I think I said, I get this all the time where people think we look alike. Her face could not have been more horrified.
Was she offended?
She was so offended.
No.
Cal?
There's no
it was
way.
Like I said.
No one's offended to look like you.
I wish I had the tape. It was like... like I was Shrek. I was an ogre troll. Heinous, awful, ugly.
Oh my God.
That happened. Anyway, I recovered. We're fine.
Wow.
I still love her. I love the Buffy.
I love her too. And I love their marriage. And I love that they have separate bathrooms.
Yep. Fully support it.
So do I. And we should really work on your situation.
I envy you guys so much.
Yeah.
Let's line up this week's show.
Yeah.
Okay. So the big three, we've not talked about these two in the first story for quite some time.
We really haven't.
We're talking about Blake and Ryan. Our second story, I actually think we said we would never or had no reason to ever, but we're going to now. We have to now.
The amount of times that we have declared that we are never talking about JoJo Siwa until JoJo Siwa and Love Island collided.
And now
we have to talk about it because obviously
there's so much going on there.
Way up my alley.
Way. And then our third story, Beyonce, the Cowboy Carter tour has kicked off.
It has.
And there's lots to chat about there. And then we're going to wrap up the show with we have to talk about
our boy,
Joshua Jackson.
Joshy.
Yeah, because he's got a lot going on as well.
Yeah, he does.
I love this lineup.
I really love this lineup.
Let's get into the first story. Blake and Ryan, they have been everywhere in the last week and showing us a united front.
Definitely.
Of a happy couple.
Although I guess it depends on who you ask.
Oh.
Because I think that, I mean, it's like the lenses that we always talk about, right? Like if you have the lens of these two are obviously faking it for the cameras, they're trying to convince us of something that doesn't exist, they are not on good terms, or he's the devil or she's the devil, whatever you're looking at, you'll see that. And if you're looking for confirmation that they're good, that they're solid, that he's backing her, that he's got her, that he's, a supportive, doting, loving husband, then you'll see that.
You'll see all that too.
So what are you seeing?
So I guess I saw so the weekend kind of rolled out where on Saturday, he co-owns a football team in the UK called Wrexham. The team has not been very good over the last many years, but since Ryan has become a co-owner, they've moved up in the ranks. So they've gone from a fifth division team to like the second tier. Sorry, division.
You with your sportiness.
Guys.
You are really truly building so many skills right now.
I really am. I'm really proud of my growth. So Wrexham won, and that meant the team gets to go up a level.
Yeah.
And so from those photos, loving, supportive. She had this long Instagram post about how he's really proven that impossible dreams can come true. Loved up photos on the pitch.
Yeah.
See what I said there? Pitch.
Ooh.
I know. football pitch, all those British soccer football terms. And in the stands and kissing and loving. And then Sunday was the premiere of A Simple Favor 2 in New York. And again, we see this like loved up unified front.
Yes.
What did you see?
But take it back to the Time 100 carpet.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No, go back. You go there now because you're right. This was the weekend of a lot of exposure on their projects.
And the range, right? Because we go from Time 100. She was honored as one of the 100 most influential people.
Just a moment for a quick side eye on that. No?
You know what? Like, I think that they like to be controversial. They also know what's going to bring press. Like, Time is not, they've been around a minute.
But there was a bit of a record scratch when that came out.
There was. And I think that that's what they meant to happen. Like, I feel like that was purposeful, where they were like, wanted people to be like, that's controversial. I disagree. She's a POS or whatever people think she is.
Is there any part of you that thinks this was a favor from a publicist?
Well, I don't know. There was, there's talks of like, how much did they pay Time to put her on that list?
Right.
I don't know.
The interesting thing about the list, so the 100 most influential is broken into categories. Mm-hmm. So she is in the Titans category.
Correct.
With other very notable people. Mm-hmm. One moment, please, while I get to the Titans. The Titans has Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Muchia Prada, Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
Okay? Not exactly her peers in the spaces she operates. There is an entirely separate category for the artists. And that has got your Kristen Bells, Adam Scott, Rashida Jones. Why was she not in that category? Why is she in the Titans category? That's where the shoehorning felt to me. It's like we're going to shoehorn her into the Time 100, and this is the place we can place her. And she was apparently on the list because of her philanthropic work.
Do I think she earned that? No, but I do think she was influential this year. We were talking an awful lot about her. Mm-hmm. She struck a lot of conversation about the workplace, about women's rights, about, the rights of new moms and the comfort or discomfort that they feel in the workplace. I do think whether or not we think that she was in the right to bring this lawsuit with Justin Baldoni forward, or however she's conducted herself, it did really inspire a lot of conversation at bare minimum. And I think it depends on your definition of influence. Mm-hmm. Is she influential? Like, in that way, yeah.
Yep.
Whether or not it's legit, I think that's the thing that we'll never agree on, and ultimately we'll probably go to a judge.
Then okay, if that's the category we're in, she's influential because of the conversation she opened up, then why don't we call it that in the 100? Yeah. Why are we calling, and I'm not saying she's not philanthropic, but if the reason she's influential this year is for having a voice, then call it what it is in the magazine then.
Right.
Don't recategorize it as philanthropy to kind of
that's so fair. But I think you couldn't say she's influential as an actress, because she's not.
She's not. And if you want to talk philanthropy, I would argue Ryan even more so of the two, right?
Yeah.
This is a man who lends himself to a number of organizations, not just his face, but their financial contributions.
Very true.
So that's the part that's a little bit strange. Then there was the gala last week.
Yes.
Where she, as a recipient of, or I guess, are you a recipient or an honoree?
Yeah.
Of being on the list, I guess?
Yeah.
She gave a speech.
Yes.
And her mom was there. With her, and she shared I didn't know this part of her history about her mom. Did you?
Well, nobody did.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of what's getting everyone a little confused. Because she did just do a whole press tour last year,
right,
about domestic violence and women, female victims of violence. And in that press tour, she said, I have no personal connection to this story.
Right.
I have no personal connection to violence. And then all of a sudden, conveniently, she's giving this speech at the Time 100 Gala, right, and suddenly has a personal connection to violence. Now, I'm not saying she's lying, but I am saying that it's so messy, Blake. It's just so messy how they choose and pick and choose and really cherry pick how they roll out these stories. And it does make her look a little bit like a liar. Well, even if she's not, it makes her look like a liar because she said she didn't have a connection, and now conveniently she does for this very inspiring speech about her mom who was a victim of violence.
Right. So she said in that her mom was a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman. And it was a story of an acquaintance that tried to kill her mother. This came up now exactly to your point. But if not only did she not mention it and said she had no connection during the press tour of It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
She was being criticized that whole time in real time, not after the fact, for promoting wear your flowers. Here's my hair care line.
Yes.
Here's my drinks line.
Exactly.
So it doesn't look great here because the other piece of this is, so also within that speech, she went on to say, about daughters and how we're going to have to tell our daughters that they are not and will likely never be safe at work, at home, in a parking lot, in a medical office, online, or in any space they inhabit physically, emotionally, professionally. So if that's what she believes as a result of her lived experience as a woman or the daughter of a woman who was the subject of horrendous violence, then why didn't that come out when we were promoting this movie? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yes. And don't you think she's saying a lot in there? Like, about the workplace. And obviously the workplace is where, all of this controversy stems from with Justin is, harassment in the workplace. And so she's saying a lot, although she did say, I have so much to say about the last 2 years, but this is not the forum, but then goes on to like say a lot of things and then asking us basically to read between the lines. So yeah, it's not a good look for her as usual. And also people are just scrutinizing how Ryan and Blake were on the carpet at that event. There's this awkwardness on the carpet between them. He has such an awkward style of humor. And I think that is his humor, right? Where he's like, oh, I'm creepy, I'm awkward, haha. But people are like, look how creepy and awkward he is. But he's like, I think he's in on the joke. But there was one where he was like standing right behind her and kind of doing like dodgy eyes. And people are like, look, he's weird and he's controlling and he's telling her to smile and he's telling her what to do. And he's like at the root of all evil.
He's behind the whole thing.
That's what people are saying.
The big revelation this week was that it looks as though Travis Kelce has unfollowed Van City Reynolds.
Right.
Wow.
Oops.
And then there was questions. Okay, so if you look at Travis Kelce's profile, it looks as though he's not following Ryan Reynolds. And then it was like, well, was he ever? And then God bless the internet because people really do keep archives.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
The receipts out there, like,
Print.
I don't want to know.
Me either. And somebody's pulled up screenshots of a time when, yes, in fact, Travis Kelce did follow Ryan Reynolds and no longer does. When that happened, who knows?
We don't know.
But it's out there now.
But we do know that as recent as October 2024, which is, 6 months ago, they were out to dinner, the four of them, that Reynolds also did a commercial live on Travis Kelce's podcast for Mint Mobile. And after the ad, Travis gushed to his brother about Reynolds, saying he's the greatest guy in the world, and just basically going on and on about how much he loves him. So something has happened. And obviously the big red flag, red herring out there is the lawsuit and the alleged falling out between Blake and her dragon, Taylor. And this is messy behavior on Travis's part, though.
So messy. You don't unfollow, bud.
You don't unfollow.
At best, you mute.
You're right.
You don't even want to know how many people I have muted.
Literally everyone but you. Like everyone but you.
Just full mute.
Just like mute across the board.
Love a mute.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So many boundaries.
Doesn't tell on you. He's telling on himself here.
And he's telling on Taylor, which I think she doesn't really operate that way. She's like a clean.
She runs a clean operation.
She really does. And so I feel like I don't know how she feels about this. But it's giving, a man who's protective of his woman, who's, been put in some compromising positions because of the situation going down with Blake and Justin. There are reports out there that are saying that Taylor will be deposed in that lawsuit. And this move on Travis's part, it's also giving newbie. Like it's giving.
Yeah, but you know what? James would do it. Randall 100% has done this.
Right.
Like I've said to him, I'm not friends with that person anymore. He's like, yeah, I unfollowed them a long time ago. I'm like, no, I just muted.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. He's like, no, I'm done with them. Unfollowed. I was like, oh, okay. And he doesn't like, so I feel like men operate a little bit differently.
True. But in Hollywood, I feel like it's just giving rookie. Like it's a little bit, I don't know. If I'm sure that Taylor is not loving the headlines about Travis unfollowing. I feel everywhere. Like that for her.
Yeah. She's like, I don't want any heat.
I don't want to be in these headlines.
Stop this.
And this is not the headline that
it is messy, but I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, I do.
So we'll see what happens. It just doesn't seem like Blake and Ryan are going to go away anytime soon. I think we can expect to see them on basically every red carpet for the foreseeable future.
I was glad they took a little break, and I'm glad they came out when they did.
She does look great. Mm-hmm. She looks like she doesn't have a care in the world.
I know. That hair. My God, that hair. It almost made me want a side part today. Thought about it. Oh. Can't do it, as you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
I actually think you might look good in a side part.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
No.
Later?
Okay. I'll do it.
Oh, it's glam. Oh my God. I'm so proud of you.
Do I need to stop down this record and fix it?
No, I love it. Are we going to leave it for the rest of the podcast?
Absolutely not.
No, it is giving Blake Lively volume. Maybe this is her secret. The listeners can't see it. But maybe I'll snap a photo so that I can post it in our photo album.
Then you're going to need to.
Okay, ready? 3,
let me
2,
see it.
1.
She's kind of like.
Oh, she is glamour. She is style. She is grace.
Is she though? Is she awkward and weird and uncomfortable? All right, Cal, the time has come for us to talk about JoJo Siwa.
JoJo.
I will say this.
Talk about messy.
Everything I have learned about JoJo Siwa up to this point was against my will.
Yeah.
It was out there.
I'm sorry for forcing this on you, but I love this story.
But I love this story. And actually, I have changed my feelings of JoJo Siwa. I just found her, I don't know, I just didn't get it. And maybe I wasn't meant to get it. I just found her a bit too much. Abrasive, a cringe, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And I didn't know where her origin story was. I had no idea where this person came from and why she was all of a sudden everywhere all the time. So she came from Dance Moms.
Yes.
Which I didn't know.
Oh.
No. And then
okay,
no, my kids, we didn't watch that. So that's about all I knew. And then I knew she was on that Special Forces show.
Yes.
And now Celebrity Big Brother UK. So she's really nailing it in the reality world. She's great on reality TV.
She is.
She really is.
And she comes from there.
Yes.
That's I think probably where she feels most authentic.
Yes.
And authentic she is. She is someone who I honestly don't think cares what people think. She's just truly out there. Remember, she's only 21.
I know.
So there is this element of she's just experimenting with her image.
Yep.
She's experimenting with, her attitudes about things. And for 21, she's pretty self-assured, I think, compared to how I felt about myself or what I knew to be true. I just don't think I was
a wreck.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I was a total wreck. A total disaster.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any photos or hear anything about myself at that time.
Oh, really? I was on national TV at that time. So there's lots of evidence.
Literally my worst nightmare.
Oh God.
My mom found a photo album from my late teens, early 20s. And I was like, burn it.
No.
Burn it.
Bring it.
No.
Next time you come to Toronto.
Not. She sent me one with the cringe emoji. My own mother. She was like, sorry, it's bad. And I was like, it's so bad.
You got trolled by your mom.
So I trolled by my mom.
I love your mom. Please bring that album.
Never.
Yeah.
She would never do me dirty like that. But JoJo. So anyway, she's in this, experimental era in a lot of ways. Over the pandemic, she did come out as a lesbian.
Yep.
And so we've watched her really go through a lot of this sort of finding of herself.
Yep. In this now version of JoJo on Celebrity Big Brother UK. So as you said, she identified as a lesbian.
Yes.
She goes into the house 20 days.
Yes.
When JoJo went into the house, she had a partner. They claimed this was soulmate stuff. This is a once in a lifetime love. They are destined to be together.
Yes. I think Kath said that they felt love bombed by JoJo that there was a lot of talk about the future, soulmates, this is it forever and ever and always.
Okay. JoJo goes in the house and develops this quick relationship, very deep friendship with Chris Hughes, who's a big UK reality TV person. He's been around, done a lot of the shows. Yes?
He is the all-star of all stars of Love Island UK.
Okay.
If anyone's looking to get into Love Island and hasn't done it yet, you need to start with Chris's season.
Okay.
Season 3. I also know, and I looked to double check, that it is available on HeyYou.
Love it.
So if anyone wants to get into the Love Island UK, you start at season 3 with Chris and thank me later.
Okay. The gospel according to Callie.
Yeah, you heard it here.
You heard it here.
But yeah, so the two of them in the Big Brother house developed a fast and fierce friendship.
They did.
But it looked like it looked different than a friendship looks, in my opinion.
It did, because I understand close friendships, obviously, but a lot of physical touch, lots and lots and lots of spooning and forehead kissing and hand holding and snuggling and getting in beds together. I don't know that. I don't think that's like a 20-year-old generation thing.
But he's also 32.
Right. So, okay, that part too.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, 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 very close. And they spoke about how close they became and this very deep friendship that was that came out of this show.
Yes.
Also, within the first few whatever days of JoJo being on the show, she declared she doesn't think she's a lesbian anymore, that she now identifies as queer.
Right. So what that's telling us, I think, something that's gone on in the house has caused her to reevaluate how she defines herself and her sexuality. I do think that she has spoken about, since they left the house, that the house gave her time away from her life to really examine and think about if she's happy, if things are working, if she's liking how things are going for herself.
Yeah.
And I think it's so true. Like in life, we're so in it that sometimes we don't allow ourselves the time and space to get a bird's eye view and to ask ourselves the questions that are tough and scary, and like ain't nobody got time for that.
No, and that's exactly why when I heard her say that as well, again, I would love a 20-day break from all the noise up in my head sometimes, you know, and to take some time to really, anytime you can even touch on a thought, then you're on to the next thing. Exactly like you're saying, this is a chance to really kind of sit in all of that.
Yeah, and be surrounded by new people, new energy.
But also for JoJo not to be controlled and scheduled and moved around and positioned and poised, and, you know, all of that was gone for these 20 days, and she was able to take some time, which is where I really started to develop a little heart for JoJo Siwa in that moment. So then comes the breakup. JoJo claims it wasn't her intention to break up with her partner at the wrap party, but it just kind of happened. Obviously, they haven't seen each other in a while, and Kath probably has a lot of questions.
Right.
Then Kath takes to Instagram, as that generation loves to do, with a 15-minute
live airing out their thoughts.
Would rather die.
Honestly,
then take it live to Instagram to share the nitty gritty of a breakup.
Totally.
Oh, God.
And obviously they were extremely heartbroken, extremely blindsided, even though they could see that there were feelings developing between JoJo and Chris. I think, you know, ultimately you think they're going to come back down to earth. We're going to, you know, we're going to talk about it and it's all going to be good.
We're soulmates.
Exactly.
This was just a weird bubble thing.
And instead got dumped at the after party. And I guess what happened was Kath went up to JoJo and said, "Are you not happy anymore?" And JoJo said, "I'm not." So then JoJo and Chris start making the rounds on the UK morning shows, talking about their relationship. And they were asked point blank on the morning show, like, is this platonic? And they did say a few times, this is platonic. But when JoJo was asked straight up, she said, basically, I don't know what the future holds.
Right. Life could life. Yes, it's platonic. We adore each other.
It wasn't a no.
It wasn't a no. And there was a big pause. And I think she handled it well. I think I don't know. Could they have jumped into a relationship right away? For sure. I think maybe taking a beat before is not a bad idea. I do foresee them becoming a couple in some capacity. Don't you?
I mean,
after all this?
I guess my fear, knowing Chris the way that I know him.
Yeah, you do know him
my
better.
best pal, Chris.
Yeah.
My concern is that he's very flirtatious and like a sweet and affectionate guy.
Right.
And JoJo's a 21-year-old person who's still figuring out who they are and what their sexuality is and asking a lot of big questions. And I fear that if he is toying with her at all or not feeling what she's feeling, but leading her on because they have this, what he calls a soulmate friendship, and he's friend zoned her, but he can see that she's asking some really big questions as a result of their connection. If he's not feeling those feelings, he's doing her dirty.
Big
this
time.
Is bad. That's a bad person. You're letting her break up with, potentially a big love because of the feelings that she feels for you. If you are not feeling them back, you have an obligation.
You do.
And a responsibility to this 21-year-old girl to tell her.
I could not agree with you more. And I will say when they had that bathroom scene where she was saying, I'm so sad and I'm so happy, but I'm also so confused. I saw a bit of a flicker on his face, almost like, oh. And I didn't get, I guess, a romantic vibe from him. Maybe for him it is this soulmate friendship.
Yeah.
Brotherly sister, but a little bit more. And for her, it feels different. And maybe she's categorizing it differently or sees it differently.
I don't think that they're going to end up together romantically. And I think she's in for a major letdown. And it's going to wreak havoc on sort of everything that she thinks that she's learned about herself. Like, I think it's bigger than just a flirtation on a show, like because of all this loaded stuff.
Let's move on to Beyonce.
Yes.
The Cowboy Carter tour kicked off in California.
Yes.
And what a first show.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I definitely did not expect Blue Ivy coming out and me thinking, oh, Beyonce looks great. Oh my God. That's not Beyonce. That's her 13-year-old daughter.
I mean, for 13, Blue Ivy is astonishing. She's also incredibly talented. She's obviously been really cultivating her craft of dance since she made all of those appearances in the Renaissance tour a couple years ago.
Working that choreo. It is amazing to me. And I really do love, clearly she loves and adores and admires and respects her mom in order to want to do something like this. Because kids can go one of two ways. You could say, that's a lot. I don't want to do that. That's not for me. Or it's like, wow, I love what you do so much and who you are and how you present and how you work and the show you put on and the performer you are. And I want to do that too.
And I want to be around you.
I want to be around you. I want to do that too.
That's actually really sweet.
That for me, I was like, that's actually really special.
Yeah.
Because again, doesn't always work out that way, you know?
Totally.
And then, of course, we got to see Rumi.
Rumi, one of the twins.
Yeah, a little
7 years old.
Honestly, so cute up on stage.
So cute. But different, in my opinion, like a strikingly different demeanor than Blue Ivy. Blue Ivy is serious.
Oh, yeah.
She is on it. That she is not missing a step. She's very kind of controlled and put together. And then Rumi, granted, younger, but I feel like Blue Ivy's been like this.
I think you're right.
They make jokes that she's like Beyonce's manager. She's just like, she's kind of walking around with a clipboard.
Yeah.
Rumi, the 7-year-old, on stage with Beyonce for one song, and so excited to be there. She is all of us. Like if you put any of us on stage with Beyonce, totally right. We would just start waving. I'm up here. Oh my God. Like the joy and excitement on her face just being up there. She literally, like, I think she had moves to do. You could tell she did like a couple of choreography moves, like raised her arm and did this like, you know, crossing her arms thing. But then all of a sudden she would just break form and just start waving and smiling like a 7-year-old.
Like a real 7-year-old.
Just so cute. And then at one point turns around I think she may have gotten overwhelmed and just hugs Beyonce. And Beyonce actually stopped singing at that moment and just like kind of did what we all did, which was like, oh.
It was so cute because you could see, and I've seen it in my own kids, where they're so excited that they start to cry. Or they're so happy in a moment that they're overwhelmed and overcome with emotion that all the feelings kind of come out in this like in joyful tears. And that's what I saw in that kid's face. And it was like the sweetest, sweetest, sweetest.
We don't really get to see Beyonce very often in a sort of unfiltered, authentic way, right? I think we talked about it at the Grammys when she kind of was surprised that she won the album of the year.
Do the Beyonce?
I did the surprise Beyonce meme.
Never gets old.
No, it really doesn't. So we don't really get to see this unvarnished version of her, but I think if anybody can bring that out in a person, and especially a woman, it's your children.
Yeah, you're totally right.
And I like love seeing that side of her, because for me, the reason why I've become less enchanted with Beyonce, and I was a huge fan, like the self-titled album, the Lemonade album, like I could rehearse them front to back right now. I know every single word. I'm obsessed with those albums. I love Beyonce as an artist. I don't love how controlled she is. And I've seen her live, and I thought, you know what? I could just watch the video because it's the same thing.
Carbon copy every time.
Every look,
hit
every
it.
breath,
Yeah.
every move, everything is so rehearsed. And that to me is not fun to watch because that doesn't even feel live.
Right.
So I feel like the people who saw her last night, in LA got to see like some real moments with her. And I think that that's really special. And that I would love to see more of that from her. It's almost like the Meghan Markle stuff. Like I would like to see her a little bit less varnished and polished. I want to see the real stuff.
The tour though, as it stands, is not selling out. So there was like 3,800 seats available last night.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And some of the tickets, you could get Ticketmaster tickets last night before the show for like $47.
I was seeing 20. And it's shocking. I do think it's a reflection of where we are just economically right now, and especially in the US.
Yeah.
Because her Renaissance tour was like the highest grossing tour for a woman of all time, and like the 7th highest grossing tour of all time, period.
Economics, absolutely. The pre-sale really hyped the tickets as well. So people who bought them pre-sale thought, okay, this is the best deal I'm going to get. And they were really inflated. And now, you know, the people who bought those pre-sale are learning they could have bought better tickets for less money.
Yeah, people are pissed.
They are pissed.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know that this album was an album that everybody loved. It was a little bit of a niche album for Beyonce.
Definitely.
And maybe that's reflecting in what we're seeing in the ticket sales and in the audience turnout.
Back to the kids.
Yeah.
Having Blue Ivy there and Rumi there is so lovely. There are some questions because there is a third child, right? Rumi is one of a duo. She is a twin.
Sir, where is Sir?
Where is he? We haven't seen him. I tried to look up like what's the most recent photo we've seen or that they've presented to the world, and I don't think we've seen him since he was like 4.
Have they presented him to the world? Has it ever been one of those here's our full family photo moments?
No, but I think that in some of her documentaries and things like that, we've seen some footage. Like I don't think there's ever been like here's a photo of us,
right?
Or maybe there was one when they were babies. But we've seen Rumi, aside from being on stage, she was at the Super Bowl, right? She's out and about with her dad all the time. Certainly Blue Ivy is out there.
Yep.
And Sir is really not. And so, of course, the conspiracy theories are abundant. They're out there in the ether. I don't really want to speculate on her kids. I think that's not our beat.
No.
But it is interesting, like who you choose to kind of present to the world and who you don't. Now maybe Sir's just not interested. Maybe he's really like kind of quiet and it's just not in his personality. Obviously the girls have conveyed some kind of enthusiasm about doing this. I'm sure Rumi saw her big sister do it and probably said something like, I want to do that.
I want to do that too.
Bring me.
Yeah.
Which totally, that is all of us. Like, bring me too. But there are some questions.
There are some questions. And I don't know that we'll ever get answers to it because
maybe not.
So much of their world is controlled in private.
Yes.
And we only get the slivers that Beyonce wants us to get.
I mean, I can't imagine how they must roll to keep everything so locked down. Like, how do they do that?
Logistics of that.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, it's wild.
You have to hide an entire human.
You really do.
Yeah.
Yep. And right now, especially, she's really out there. She goes through moments of being really out there and then she's gone again.
But she's not. She's only out there in the moments that she wants to be.
Yeah.
We don't see her walking down the street in New York or picking up a coffee in LA or going to Erewhon. Like, we've never seen her do that stuff. Now, I don't think she goes to a grocery store, but like, can you picture it?
No, now I'm picturing her just kind of teleporting from A to B.
Well, there are the rumors of the underground highways for the celebrities in LA.
What conspiracy are you now sharing with me? There's underground highways.
You don't know about the underground highway conspiracy?
No.
Because there's a lot of people we don't see out and about doing normal things or even just driving, stuck in traffic, whatever. Like, there are reports and
Callie.
There are reports that there are highways underground that only celebrities have access to.
And that's why all the other highways are jammed up with peasants?
Yes.
Let's get to Josh Jackson.
Yes.
We have to talk about him this week.
We do.
He's out there making the rounds. He's promoting his show, Dr. Odyssey.
He doesn't do a lot of press, which is why I think it's making headlines that he's in the press because he doesn't do a lot of interviews. He was only on one other podcast before he did this most recent podcast with Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family, who has a podcast, as do so many of them. And he gave a lot of juicy sound bites in that 145-minute interview. It was a banger.
It was.
I was listening to it this morning. So I had seen the headlines, but I thought I'll just listen to see if there's like other nuances that I can pull from this. And
what did you learn?
Well, I think there's two things that people are, really talking loudly about. One is that he talked about his Dawson's Creek cast members.
Yeah.
And like we talked about last week of the like comfort shows, the things that you can watch in the background that just like make you feel good and like regulate your nervous system. Dawson's Creek is one of those for me.
It is.
I always thought Josh Jackson was like a fine man.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something that's icking me out right now, and I can't quite put my finger on it. He's so serious right now. And not that, like, you can't go through serious times, but, like, there's something that's just very dense. I don't know if that makes sense, but, like, there's a denseness about him. Heaviness.
Well, listen, I've interviewed him a number of times over the years. The last interview I had with him would have been during the pandemic because it was virtual. And he had his daughter, Juno, at the time. She was little. I think our daughters are maybe a year apart because we were talking about marriage and children. Mm-hmm. And in this interview, this man gushed obsessively about his wife and their marriage and her beauty and their love and their connection and their parenting. It was, and most times, often with celebrities, they'll give you a little something about their relationship if you work hard enough for it.
Yes.
This, I did not have to work for.
Right.
This was just like
serving it up on a platter.
Oh my God. Like, this man is obsessed. And then
Right.
we talked about the book Goodnight Moon, because both of our kids loved it and what a ridiculous book it is. Sorry,
I love
it's just
that book.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good night moon, good night chair, couch, jumping over the moon. You love
don't
that
like
book?
that one?
It's just after, the 700th lap, it's a little tiresome.
I haven't had to read it to anyone.
Yeah. So when they announced their separation, I was floored.
The whole world was. I think it was one of those moments where it's like, love is dead. No, these two can never be apart.
And he claimed to be blindsided by her filing for separation or divorce at the time.
Yeah.
So something bad happened,
I guess.
And I think that's maybe where you're seeing this heaviness, this denseness.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been very tumultuous and very ugly.
It does seem like
she's
that.
claimed his ex-wife Jodie Turner-Smith claimed that he wasn't paying child support and he wasn't paying spousal support, and he was able to go and work and flourish in his career, and she was, looking after their daughter. Yeah. And, sharing that stuff in the headlines it's bad.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
And it's really
gross.
Unnecessary. Like they don't, they have lawyers, I'm certain, but
obviously she
felt she needed to share it.
And maybe get his attention and be like, this is the first of many things I'm about to say if you don't start cooperating.
Right.
Because she also said too, I don't know if you saw this, that he promised to always support me and ensured that I would not have to worry about financial security for our daughter if we ever separated, because he said he understood how difficult life can be as a Black woman and a single mother. And then he left her without the payments. Ooh, yikes. Right?
That's not a good look.
It's not great.
No.
It's not great. Then he went on to date Lupita Nyong'o, but I think they've
right after
broken up.
It doesn't seem like there's any goodwill in that relationship with his ex. And in this podcast that he did with Jessie, he refers a lot to his ex-wife. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes people will soften it by saying like the mother of my child or something like this, but he says ex-wife, like take a shot every time he says it.
Oh God.
And you will be inebriated. And he talks a lot about parenting, and he talks a lot about his childhood traumas and how parenting is like a form of healing for him because he's able to parent in a way that he never had access to. So he feels like he's healing traumas. And then the quote that's getting everybody riled up, which I think has been taken out of context. I don't know if you saw this one. But he says, regardless of how messy the divorce is, or beautiful the divorce is, or hard or easy or hard the co-parenting is, I think this generation of dads is understanding, like, quote, I need to be here. It's going to be hard, but this is important, and I've got to do this. For me, there's no other option. It's the great and beautiful purpose of my life. So people are saying like, oh, great, like bare minimum dads, like you just realize you have to be here. And it's like, I don't really think that's what he meant by it. I think what he's saying is like he was abandoned by his father. And maybe he comes from a generation where he feels like dads felt it was optional to participate. And now he's living in an era where dads are like, no, this isn't optional to participate. Like, I want to be here for my child. And in fact, I think that listening to the interview was very different than reading the quotes. I felt like he was really opening his heart about how important being a father is to him, and maybe how much he loves it.
Maybe it is a print versus voice and nuance. I think the other side of that, you would just never hear a mom say that.
Right.
No mom would say,
I'm opting in.
I'm gonna put me in, coach.
Right.
We've just never had we could never, not an option ever.
Yeah.
And it has been optional, and sometimes for the dads.
Right.
Like they're not oftentimes the primary caregiver in a separation situation.
Right. Very true.
Yeah, I think it sounds like his intentions are right, but maybe it came out or got lost a little bit in translation.
Yeah.
What I love that he shared is this Dawson's Creek group chat that is happening, which is, I think, I just so great. It's in support of James Vanderbeek, who we know was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And that just the Dawson's Creek crew rallying around him. And I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, do you think Michelle Williams is in this chat? And Katie Holmes is in this chat? And they're all in there just cheering him on and supporting him and loving him. I think that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a very rare thing, I think, for casts from a TV show, especially one that was that successful, that was that long ago, that where careers really spawned from. It's very rare to keep a tight group like that. Or I can't imagine there's a lot of scenarios where a group chat lives from a cast of a TV show. And I just thought it was so great to hear.
I agree. And I do think that this reconnection is as a result of James Vanderbeek's diagnosis. And I think it's a beautiful thing when people can come together at a time of need and realize how much love and history they have together. And he also revealed, just sort of in passing, he said, over the last few decades, you know, we talked about Busy and Michelle Williams being best friends and like super, super close. So he says, you know, Michelle and Busy are close. And then I'm really close with Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
So, you know, they were together in their late teens, early 20s during the filming of Dawson's Creek. And so to reveal very casually that they're still I think he said extremely close.
Yeah.
So that was like a little nugget, a little revelation where I was like, oh, there's a little bit of gossip there.
I liked it too. And it was one of those things where we go back to why couldn't they work out? Like we talked about last week with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they work out?
I don't know. Well, in the case of Josh and Katie, they were so young.
Yeah, they were babies.
But like they could try again. I would ship that relationship. Are you kidding? The people would love that. I would be so into that. But also Josh is like, once he, you know, gets through this dense phase, he's a lover boy. Like he has had some extremely big relationships. I think he loves love.
Yeah.
He certainly loved his ex-wife and, you know,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's other people, like maybe he's a good J-Lo guy.
No, what?
Why not? You don't like that?
No, she needs a minute. We just need to leave her alone.
Okay, but so does he. So then maybe after their minute, that could be cute.
You know what though? Yeah, he does. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting that. But if I think about it, there is a Ben Affleck because he's dense too.
Yeah,
not dense.
No, no,
no,
but surly,
yes,
heavy,
great hair,
but hot,
a little like rugged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
listen,
you never know.
I don't hate it. I just had to think about it for a second. I needed a minute to process, and I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
I prefer Katie Holmes though. That's
yeah,
my favorite.
No,
that
would be the ultimate.
Yes, it would.
I love that. And maybe you guys can let us know if you agree, because we are going to kick off a brand new feature in the In3 podcast.
Very excited about this.
And we are opening our inboxes for you because we want you to send us voice notes.
We want to know what you're obsessing about, what you want to fight with us about, what your hot takes are. We want you to send us a voice note and just let it rip.
Yeah.
Please.
Whether it's something we talked about today and you want to weigh in, whether it's something you've seen in the media, in the headlines, and you just want to give us a quick hot take, keep it brief. Let's keep them under 90 seconds.
I was going to say under a minute would be great. Under a minute.
Under a minute.
Right?
Let's keep it under a minute. Let us know what you think, and we will play them every week.
Doesn't that sound fun?
So fun.
Yeah.
We're really looking for a way to get our audience and our community more involved in the conversation, because that is truly what it's all about.
Yes.
So I think this will be a really fun way to get everybody kind of involved and get to hear your voice, literally.
Yeah. And the thing I love so much is when people say to us, when they listen to the show, they feel like they're sitting down with their girlfriends. Yeah. That's what we want to hope to incorporate more with the voice notes. So
exactly.
Send them in, everybody.
Yeah, over DMs is the best way to get us.
And then you could hear yourself on the show. Won't that be fun?
That'll be so fun.
I think so.
I love it.
This was great. As always.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Have an amazing week.
Mwah.
Bye.